All right. The boys are back. Marathon Minute Season 2, Episode 22. And my dad cannot keep a smile off of his face. Look at that. What's up, Dad?
We're back, but we're not together. We're usually together.
I know. Do we
So
want to disclose what's going on, or is that do we keep that in the family?
no, it's fine. It's fine. We have no secrets from our audience, right?
Okay. Yeah, we're the power of truth and vulnerability. Yes, you're right. You got COVID.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's honestly, it's really not a laughing matter. I'm just very grateful that you're feeling okay and healthy, and you've taken all the steps necessary with your vaccines to make sure you have the best chance to be healthy. So, in all seriousness, I'm glad, but
yeah. No, short story. My roommate, my wife,
blame it
uh,
on mom. Wow.
well, she got it, and then despite our efforts to separate and stay apart from each other, once her symptoms developed, I got it, and I had a very, very mild case.
Yeah.
I think my symptoms came about on a Sunday, and by Friday they were gone, or essentially
Yeah.
gone. And now we're Sunday. We're about a week later. I feel great. I'm going to get on the Peloton, but I was fully vaccinated and boosted,
That helps.
and fortunately, my case was very mild.
Yeah. I think it might be all the Panda Express that you've eaten over the years. I think that's built up some sort of tolerance or immunity. I don't know.
I think if my body can withstand the rigors of a regular Panda Express diet, it
Yeah.
could ward off a bad infection.
Yeah. But no,
Stay
you look,
healthy out there, folks. It's
yeah.
remarkable how prevalent this COVID is,
Yeah.
because we
It's
don't
real.
socialize much.
You don't socialize much. That's yeah, you're
Yeah,
not wrong. But yeah, obviously, Dad, I wish we were together, but you know, as we've said before, the pod goes on, rain or shine. We still are releasing pods, and recording this on a beautiful Sunday morning in
yeah.
California, Oakland, California. I think we just mentioned it when we were preparing for this, but in our first intro, we kind of got straight to the point. It
Yeah.
was our first intro in a long time, a bit rusty. Maybe we were a bit anxious to release the episode, but we didn't really give a whole lot of context to what's going on in our
Our
lives.
banter game was a little off, huh? Our
Our
little
banter
banter
game
game.
was a little off, still quality, but a little off. But yeah, we didn't really give the people much of an update on what's going on. I mean, we just updated them on your health. So that
Yeah.
was, we're getting right into it. I am still playing for the Oakland Roots. Fortunately, oh my God, my dad, Jesus. You all right, big guy?
Coffee went down the wrong pipe.
Okay. It's the coffee, not the COVID.
No,
My
coffee, not
goodness.
COVID.
Yeah.
Better.
Okay. He's all right. He's all right. But yeah, we had a game last night. Didn't go our way. I haven't been out there the last couple of games. I'm nursing an adductor injury back to health, but I'm optimistic to being back next week. We'll see how this week of training goes.
Yeah, let's hope you
But I
are.
am I am itching to get back on the field, especially for our home opener in front of our fans in Oakland. Would love to be back for that game. Obviously not making promises, but that's where I'm setting my goal. And we'll see how this week of training goes. But yeah, it's very frustrating for me to be injured. I don't take that very well mentally. That's something that I'm working on, is my patience in, sometimes the best thing to do is to rest and not do anything, or do things
Yep.
lightly, where for me it's hard for me to make that switch mentally. It's like I want to go and improve. So yeah, it's
And
been a
muscle strain
challenging.
injuries are tough because you feel like I'm 90% better. You want to get out there, and you can just get back. You can have a setback real easily. Just one misstep or one, over stressing of it, and you're back where you are. And it
Yeah.
is a patient's type of injury.
Yeah. So that's been a challenging couple of weeks after what I felt was a really good preseason. So looking to get back on track very soon, very soon.
What's it like to be watching your team on TV? I mean, is that tough for you?
It's it's brutal. I
Yeah,
mean, you should have seen me watching the game yesterday on TV. I was standing up, my foot was tapping like crazy. Just even, non or reflexes that I'm not even aware of, I'm doing just because
yeah,
I'm so used to either being on the field or closer to the field where I can have an impact, whether it be actually doing something or saying something to my teammates. So it is very difficult to watch from the sidelines, let alone from a TV thousands of miles away. Um, so yeah, it was challenging, but
you
I
get,
think
go ahead.
I was
I'm
just gonna
sorry.
say I think the group we have this year is really exciting, and it's going to be fun to compete with that group because we have a lot of talent. And though these first two games haven't gone our way, I think we've shown flashes. I think the last 20 minutes of that game, you kind of saw flashes of what we're capable of when we start to put the pressure on. And yeah, it's exciting. As difficult as it is to watch from so far, it is exciting to know that, that's the team that I am on and returning to
Right.
and hoping to push in the right direction.
Yeah, I was looking at the lineup that the Roots put out there, and two things struck me. Number one, it's obviously a very talented group of players, but soccer being 11 players out there, I think there were four players of the 11 who are from last year's team. So soccer being a team sport, it does take a while. Obviously, you know better than I do, but certainly I know team sports, and I know that putting 11 good individual or very good individual players out there doesn't mean you're going to have immediate success. It means that there's work to do in terms of getting to know each other, getting to know how where people like the ball. Uh,
Yeah.
it's, it's a learning curve.
Yeah. And, you know, that's one of the reasons we have a preseason, but that's also one of the reasons that it's beneficial to have 34 games is that the season's not won or lost in the first couple of games. So
Yeah,
I'm
and even with your
confident.
preseason, not to over chat about the Roots, but I saw some
Yeah.
players out there
You
that
you're dying to be on a Roots podcast. Let's be real. Let's be real.
so
You're dying to call into a Roots podcast. So you're turning this into
you
one.
don't know how hard it is for me not to.
Your
Uh, I
Twitter
wish I
fingers are itching.
I wish at times I had a different last name from you, or you had a different last name from me. That way I could have a little anonymity in talking about the
Oh
Roots,
my
but I
goodness.
can't. So, but there were players out there last night that I don't think participated in preseason games at all. That it may have been their first time on the Roots. The Icelandic kid and
Yeah, I think maybe that's just there's one guy.
you're the winger also Reno or Rito or what was
Rito, yeah, he was with us in preseason. See,
right.
clearly your fanship is
Um,
slowing down a bit. You're not recognizing guys like you used to.
I certainly did not recognize him at all.
No, yeah, the only guy who wasn't with us in preseason was Otar, who I'm excited about. He's a good player. He's going to be exciting to watch this year. But okay,
Yep.
enough about us. The point of the show is to highlight our guests.
Yeah.
And this week, episode 22, we have an awesome guest, Noel Sigua. Noel is someone who, kind of similarly to Warren, I met through social media. I found his page and started following him, and he's a local Bay Area guy.
Yeah.
I should give a little bit of context of what he does. He is the ultimate creative. He is a content creator. He's a stylist. He provides creative direction. He's a photographer.
Yeah.
He's a model. He
Yep.
pretty much does everything you could ask
Yeah.
in these creative campaigns. And he's got a really awesome story. Like I said, I met him through social media and kind of was just intrigued by just the quality of his content as someone who I like to create clothes, create content, and act in similar spaces. It was cool to just see the work that he was doing from afar. And now this conversation was really unique, getting to pick his brain about it and hear about his journey, because his journey is really unique too.
Yep. Yep. Another self-taught young, right? I mean, he
Oh, he
is
just turned 23.
right. He's really young. And it seems to me in kind of looking at his work and then hearing from him, it's all self-taught, all self-motivated, no real mentorships, right? It's just he had a passion for fashion and streetwear as a young guy, and took it and ran with it.
Yeah, he's a go-getter. He's a hustler. He was going to make, his dream a reality, even if it took just going to YouTube University and asking the hard questions. But yeah, this conversation is really awesome for anyone in the creative space, interested in content creation, photography, modeling, creative direction, styling, any of that world, being an entrepreneur, growing your own business. He's done this all, and he's only 23 and he's only growing. He's doing really cool brand campaigns for brands like Foot Locker, other cool companies, Dickies. But he's done a lot of cool campaigns, and it looks like he's only going to continue leading even bigger campaigns as his stuff continues to gain an audience. And yeah, we think this is a conversation you guys will really like.
Yeah, I was listening to a fellow on the radio, someone more my age, and he was talking about as a 60-year-old giving advice to his sons who are in their 20s, and kind of making a list of 60 kind of things or sayings to live life by. And one of those sayings was to take professional risks while you're young. It's a good time to take risks is when you're young in terms of your professional life. And I look at Noel as sort of embodying that. He has, no fear of diving in to a new venture, no fear of putting his creative stuff out there and seeing how the marketplace responds to it. I think he's living that kind of mantra of having no fear or taking risks in your profession while you're young. And I admire that tremendously as someone who's not
100%. Yeah. Hey, I would say you're a risk taker, Dad. I wouldn't say that. But yeah, Noel had the opportunity to go to some prestigious four-year universities, and he turned that down to go all in on being a creative, and it's paying dividends right now, seeing the work that he's creating. But yeah, let's get to the episode. We've given the people a little bit of what's going on in our lives. You're on the mend, I'm on the mend. We're both getting back healthy, getting back to where we need to be. And we got a really fun episode for you guys.
Yeah, I'm very excited to our second chapter of season 2 of Marathon Minute is Noel, exciting young guest.
Yeah, another great guest. Season 2 is in full swing. If you haven't subscribed everywhere you get your podcasts, subscribe on YouTube, write us a review, comment on stuff, share to your friends, whatever. It helps us a lot. We appreciate all the support we've gotten so far, and Marathon Minute's only going up. Here is Noel Sigua for episode 22.
Marathon Minute.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Welcome.
Hey, Noel.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. I'm Michael, or Mike, Max's dad. You probably figured that out.
Yeah, right on. Pleasure.
Good looking one in the family.
Oh my goodness.
I can see where he gets it from.
Yeah, this is one, it's like, it's great to meet you, bro. Like you don't know much about our relationship. I guess it's not much of a relationship. We just like our homies on social media and have yet to link up in person, but hopefully soon. We're gonna do this in person, but I just got these microphones. I'm trying to figure them out. This is actually the first time us using them, so hopefully we're coming through clear. Can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
You could hear us? Okay.
Am I good? Maybe I should grab my AirPods, or
do you have AirPods? That would
I do.
That could be solid.
Okay, I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
See how easy he puts those in his ears?
Okay.
I've got these weird ears, Noel, where the AirPods don't fit in my ear right. And so I have to
Are the first version ones?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah,
it
that's what I
doesn't
have.
matter what version they are. They're just not fitting in his ear. Because I've tried putting my new ones in. This is a personal problem. This is not a global issue, I don't think.
You should not make fun of people with disabilities.
Okay, don't you dare try and put yourself in that category. 'Cause you
I
got-
cannot wear AirPods. They don't stick in my ear. This thing is going to fall out any
Yeah,
second.
I was gonna give you a heads up. Like, I apologize if he's touching his ear a lot because he's probably trying to fix his. We honestly debated putting tape over his ear, which honestly would just it'd be pretty on brand with our
a
setup.
little masking tape. Hey, that's a nice rack of clothes you have behind you.
Oh, thank you. It's actually new because my previous one from Target gave up on me. I realized you couldn't put 500 pounds of clothes on something that's meant for maybe 50. So yeah, had to upgrade.
That'll happen.
I like that green. Is that like almost like a hockey jersey? What?
Yeah, actually, it's a hockey jersey.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You
got that in the
hockey jersey
XL?
for your birthday or what?
I want that one.
Oh my god,
That's cool. I like that. That's a cool color.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I feel like this has been a long time coming, not just you being on the pod, but like just us linking in some way or another. Just like for a little context for anyone listening or watching, it was probably like sometime in the last year. I think I saw you on Instagram, and I fucked with your content, whether it be your own clothing brand or just the stuff that you were putting out. I just liked your stuff, liked your page, and in a way, like saw a lot of like what I was trying to do in what you were doing. And so one of the things that I think is so great, as much as social media can be kind of a downer mentally if you use it the wrong way, one of the best things about it for me especially is being able to connect with people like yourself, to put your stuff out there, have it kind of as a portfolio. So thanks to Instagram, we linked up, and hopefully it creates opportunities like this, opportunities to collaborate in other ways in the future. Yeah, a little bit of context. Came across your page, hit you with a follow, you hit me with a follow back, and then like every once in a while I'll respond to something of yours, you'll respond to something of mine. Also, I'm saving your posts because I know how much that helps. But yeah, now here we are, and I just thought one of the premises of the show is to talk with athletes, entrepreneurs, and creatives. And I mean, I think you might check all the boxes. Now, like I've seen some of your hooping videos, and you're moving. You're definitely an entrepreneur with the way you've been able to monetize the work that you do and kind of the evolution of the business side of things. And then obviously you're a creative, if you've seen any of the stuff that you do. So I'm hyped to just kind of like talk about all of how you've got into what you've done, what you're doing now, and just like the ins and outs of being a creative, because I think that's something that I'm very interested in. I think honestly, a lot of what you're doing, like I'm watching, like, damn, like I'm trying to get like that, and some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could just start like super broad. Like, have you always been into clothes, fashion, branding? Like, at what age did you really like realize that, and then start to like develop your own sense of it, or realization that, oh, I'm into this?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, thank you for all the the lovely compliments. I appreciate when people gas me up. But yeah. It's funny you asked that. I was just talking to my mom about it probably like yesterday or something. I was like, wouldn't you say I've always been a creative or like a confident child growing up? And she was like, yeah, honestly, I don't know how to explain it, but I just always have been. Whether it's like I used to draw a lot. I used to play with Legos just like any other kid. But the thing with me is like I would always try to think of other ways that people wouldn't do things. And I kid you not, like even when it comes to Legos, I would make like literal candy machines where you could put like coins inside of it and it'll give you candy back. And that was like
made those, or you made that yourself?
No, yeah, I'd made that myself. Like I would buy the bins of Legos where you just get a bunch of random pieces.
Yeah.
And I would construct some type of mechanism inside where you put a coin, you click this, and then you get a piece of candy. And yeah, so I guess that was just a little short story about it. But the creativity has always like flown through me. I think I would like to say since I was a little kid. And the fashion side as well. I've always been surrounded by the fashion side of things, whether it was my uncle or my aunt. I just always had family members who kept up with the most updated clothes and just had the coolest things that, you know, I could possibly think. And obviously growing up as a little kid within this family, I would get hand-me-downs, and that would kind of open my eyes to like what does fashion mean to me, or like what I liked.
Right.
But I guess I kind of started to take it serious when I was probably like my freshman year in college, which is probably not that long ago either. It was probably 2017, the fall of 2017.
Yeah, that's recent.
Yeah, I would always be drawn to clothes. I'd always like it. I always buy the newest things. And 2017, I kind of saw like that was like the first time I made a serious Instagram, and I kind of saw how people would show their outfits just for fun, really. And then it kind of took off like on its own. I would literally like 5 minutes before class or something, I would tell my friends like, "Hey, here's my phone. Take my picture. I just want to post it for fun."
Yeah.
And at this time, it just served as like a documenting type of thing, more so like for me to look back and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that outfit," or "I remember what I did that day." And at the time, I would crop my head out of the pictures. Like I didn't want people to know it was me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it would just be my outfits. And I don't know. I guess a couple months go by, and my page started to get a little bit of traction, and that was when I got an email from Forever 21 and PacSun within the same day, asking if I wanted to be an ambassador. And when I think about it,
Damn, that was
like I was
fast.
just such a no, yeah, I was just it just came out of nowhere, and I was such a like a naive kid, or didn't really think of like the bigger picture. But I was just so happy, like whoa, like big brands are like emailed me and
Yeah.
wanted me to wear their clothes and post it, and that would be our relationship with the brand would just be to get the clothes, style them, and post it. And I saw value in that. I wish I would have asked for money back then, but I felt like I wasn't in a position to, just from
Right.
being like such a small page. But since that incident, it kind of made me see things as like, oh, maybe I can actually have a position in this industry in a way. Whether that's like the social media side of things, whether that's the fashion thing or styling thing, it kind of just like this like switch flipped in my head where it's like, whoa, like the things that I'm attracted to for fun, I can actually, you know, maybe turn it into like a career or something. And I'm a like go back a little bit, because this is where like the photography came in.
Yeah.
I've always taken pictures, I guess. Like when I was probably like middle school all the way to high school, me and my friends would like vlog just for fun, like on our little iPods, or I would like take photos on like hand-me-down cameras from my mom. Actually, my mom like used to document my entire life. Like
Yeah.
we just take photos, scrapbook, and record a bunch of things, and I like kind of took that to myself. And then going back to the Forever 21 PacSun thing, that was like me saying, okay, I have this love for photography. I've always been into fashion. Why don't I just mold the two and use both those skills and see like what can come out of it? So long story short, I just took it a little bit more serious. You know, I would experiment with things here and there. A lot of things worked, some didn't. And I just built my following organically, like on Instagram. And as more people started to come in, I would network with everybody. And like the biggest thing for me was like the energy exchange between people. I
Yeah.
wanted to meet people who were like me, and I wanted to work with people who were interested in the same things that I like. So my closest thing to that was, you know, looking for people like on Instagram. And, you know, I found so many of my closest friends today from the Bay that do an abundance of different things, like from photos to modeling to styling. And it kind of just opened my world up to, I can do all these things too. So here I am
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. I kind of, I mean, I kind of want to go back and like dissect like a lot of that,
Oh yeah,
because
for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think I kind of have like a similar progression, like kind of prior to, because I've similarly to you, like grew up always into clothes, like went through the phase wearing velour sweatsuits elementary school. Like I
Oh
would walk
wow.
around. Yeah, it was like that. I would this is a funny story that like a lot of just like my family knows, but this is kind of like an inside, you know, the sweatpants, the way me and my sweatpants. This is pretty much like defines how I was interested in clothes, even in elementary school. Like for some reason I would like only rock gray or blue sweatpants, like not like in a high fashion way. It's just like I was just into gray or blue sweatpants. But
hey, I feel you completely.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I used to love brown. I would literally buy everything brown. I don't know why, but it's a conscious decision that you make, right? And you don't realize like
exactly.
how much it's worth until like you grow up.
Exactly. So like at the time,
Yeah.
my parents are probably just thinking I'm weird into gray and blue. But even at whatever age I was at in fourth grade, fifth grade, I cared about how the sweatpants looked. And so
Mm,
if you know sweatpants, which I know you do, if you
mhm.
wear them for too long or you sit down for too long, you get like that knee crease, where it's like it's no longer like a
Yeah.
nice flat line. Like you get that weird little knee thing. And
Yeah.
so me wanting to keep my sweats crispy before I got to
Uh-huh.
school, I would walk around my house just straight legged. Like I'm not bending my knees. So like I'd be going up and down the stairs, like looking all sorts of weird just because I was like, I
Yeah.
cannot bend my knees because I need to keep my sweats crispy for when I get to school. So like
That's
even
crazy. Yeah.
I know, I mean it's ridiculous, but like I didn't realize at the time, but it was just like, oh, I was very interested in not just like how these felt, but like how they looked as well. And then
Mm.
in turn, like I feel a certain type of way because of how they looked. So I definitely, similar to, I was into it at a young age. At what point did you you obviously were doing it for fun at a young age, but when did it kind of click
Mhm.
to you like that, oh, maybe you could find a career in this space? Or were you thinking like, oh, this is fun, but like I'm gonna have to get some sort of other career down the line?
Mhm.
What was your like thought process in whatever high school, early college? Did you have career aspirations outside of the creative world, or was it always like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna find something in this world?
That's a great question. Actually, I'm really happy you mentioned that.
Thanks, man.
Um, for me,
Oh man.
We get excited when people say we have good questions, but I tend to get a lot more of those compliments than him. So
yeah,
he just, yeah, sorry.
No.
it's
You'll,
1-0. So let's see how it
yeah,
goes. I'm gonna try
yeah,
to
you'll get
be
one in, pal.
unbiased.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
Remember the question?
Um, yeah. I think I do. Um, for me, really, I think it was. I never thought that I could do something in this field. Like where I'm at right now, I never even pictured me being here or doing the things that I do or connecting with the people that I do. It was always a school first type of thing growing up. Especially like coming from a Filipino household, they want you to get that 6-figure job right out the gate, right? So that was my mindset, like growing up, and then all throughout like middle school, and then especially high school. My plan was to get a degree in computer science, and I would work for, I don't know, Google or Facebook or some tech company, right? Because I was always tech savvy, so I was like, and I was a pretty smart kid too. So in high school, I was like super drawn to the fashion like a lot, and that's when like I got my first job, and then I started buying like all the clothes that I wanted. But my mind was always at, okay, I need to work hard in school. I'm gonna apply to all these 4-year colleges. I'm gonna make that decision, and just go the traditional route of getting that.
So I applied to all these colleges, and then I got into every single college I applied for, probably besides Berkeley.
Sheesh.
And yeah,
No one gets into Berkeley. That's okay.
yeah, I was excited. Like, nonetheless, I was like, Berkeley, whatever. I got everything else.
Yeah.
So it was a big decision for me at a young age, and I felt like I didn't really have too much guidance, and it was really just like the pressure's on. So I ended up going to a community college nearby, Contra Costa College, and not making that jump to go to the 4-year because I felt like I just wasn't ready, or I didn't have the tools or the guidance to be. But I don't regret it at all. It's probably one of the best decisions I could have made.
Right.
I ended up going to the community college for computer science, and then probably like my first year in, I'm like, whoa, I don't think computer science is going to be for me, because I'm already realizing all my friends who like went off to these colleges and they're doing the same thing as me, like they're stressed out, they don't even like it. And then I start thinking to myself, like, maybe I just don't want to do it. So I switched over to a business major, and I was like, business works with everything. If I, get this degree for business, I can apply it to whatever. And during that year of like, those years of just going to college, that's when the Instagram just started to take off a little bit. And I would get like brand deals now where, companies would reach out to me and be like, hey, we want to send you these clothes. And then at this point, the following grew, and I had the power to be like, hey, these are my rates. Like, I don't do free stuff anymore. How about you send me the clothes and I'll do this for this amount of money? So yeah, it was never like, oh yeah, like I'm so creative as a kid and I want to like be this and do that. It was maybe it was in the back of my head, like something so far off, like, oh yeah, I could be, you know, I could start my own clothing brand, or I could be a model for these people, and I could creative direct projects. And honestly, everything just kind of took off within these past like 2 years, and I never saw it coming. So I hope that answers your question.
No, yeah, that's dope.
Were your folks supportive, Noel, of you know, kind of the path you decided to take?
As well. I'm really glad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't gotta say that just to make
No,
it
I'm
funny,
being serious though. I'm being serious. That's a good question. I never got
It
asked.
really is a terrific question. Go ahead.
Yeah. At first, no. Especially my parents being so strict. They're like, "You're such a smart kid. Like, why don't you go to these four-year colleges, or even if you are at the community college, still push to go back and, you know, get your degree and everything." Especially my grandma, she's like, "You need to get that degree for me and do all this." But yeah, they weren't supportive at first. I think it was a money thing too. But over like the recent years, they kind of opened up a bit to it. At first, they didn't understand it. Like my dad especially be like, why is he always out taking photos? And at this point, I'm just doing it for fun. Like, it's just what I love to do. I enjoyed it. I would hang out with my friends and I would just create. So yeah, at first they were just like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any money. There's no money in it. But it definitely took a lot of time and a lot of like, oh mom, like, look who I just did work with, or look who just like hired me, or look who I just modeled for. And probably even the most recent thing was like flying to New York and modeling for Foot Locker. Now they're like, okay, yeah, I'm settled. Like, this is my kid now. This is what he does. He's proven to me that, you know, he puts in the hours of work and he can take something that he loves genuinely and does for fun and, you know, make profit off of it and make a living off of it. So yeah, at first, definitely not. But now that they see like the end results more, they're kind of more open to it. So
yeah.
Do your parents wear any of the garments that you manufacture your style?
They love it. They love it so much. I get upset sometimes because like I'll just have boxes around and they'll be like, oh, let me get this. I'm like, I haven't even shown those to anybody yet. I haven't even released it. But yeah, they rep me really hard. Like they're always posting me and bragging about me. And it's really funny because like a lot of my family members, especially like during COVID times, they don't like, we haven't seen them, but they see all the stuff that like I do. So then she's kind of like the famous mom of like, every time she pops out, they're like, hey, doesn't your son do this, or doesn't like he do that? And she always gets recognized. It's really funny.
Hell yeah. That's what's up.
Your parents are singing a different tune now, because you could have been one of a gazillion computer science engineers, but you know, maybe one of the select few, you know, kind of designers and stylists.
Yeah.
Well, credit to you for making that commitment, because I know, especially like at that stage of life, like that's not easy to do, especially like with family pressure, all that. So I mean, I commend you for that. That's not easy. And to see now like how you've evolved and like where you're at, like I think you've proved why you made the right decision, you know, and the fact that you're following like your passion versus like money or a check, like that's something that
working at
yeah, exactly. I mean, you might have been cashing a check, but like there's something different about like making a living, like doing something that you truly love doing and like on your terms too, you know. And
exactly.
I'm fortunate that I have supportive parents where like they support me doing whatever I want to do, really. As long, I mean, unless it's something like really crazy, like they're really just like, yeah, do what you love. I mean, you've always told me like, don't settle for a job just to have a job, you know. Don't be ordinary, be extraordinary. You've said that, right? That's a quote. I
have said that, and I'm a believer. You know, you work in your job 40 years, right? If you start working in your 20s, you're going to work for 40 years, right? Maybe longer. Do something you love. Do something you're passionate about. It's your life. It's not a dress rehearsal. You don't get to do it right the next time.
Yeah.
So go for it.
Yeah. So kudos to you. I want to go back a little bit to kind of the process of how you've been able to, you know, develop all these skills and kind of gain the reputation, the ability to attract brands and do these do the work that you're doing, because that doesn't just happen overnight, you know? And so kind of back when you were just like with your friends creating, and you talked about how you didn't have your face in photos. At what point did you feel comfortable like being in front of a camera and like being a model? And then at the same time, where was your photography skills at that point? Because I mean, I'll let you go first and I'll kind of jump in with my experience, because I mean, I was talking to my dad kind of before we had you on. I was talking about how like I see a lot of similarities between us in that like we both like to be in front of the camera, behind the camera,
Yeah.
do some sort of creative direction, make clothes, style clothes. So it's like I kind of I'm kind of jumping ahead, but like I kind of consider myself a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And that can be very frustrating, because it's like I know what I know what a really high quality photo looks like, and I might be able to be the model in it, but I might not be able to take the best photo, but I can take a pretty damn good one. So it's like having to find this balance. So like when did you like start to feel comfortable in front of a camera? And then where was your photography skills kind of at that point?
Mhm. Um, I think I'd rather say I think I was always in front of the camera. I think that was a
Yeah.
part of this story of my childhood that I didn't tell, but I was heavily into music as well, and I used to sing a lot, and I taught myself to play the guitar and the ukulele. And it's funny because it's like a typical Filipino thing. I don't know if you know, but they say like all Filipino kids or something, they either sing, dance, play an instrument, or take photos, and I do all of them. So um,
Hey,
I did not know that. That is interesting to hear. That's
nobody
very
knows.
interesting.
I keep it like under wraps. Nobody really knows I sing, but I literally sing a lot, like every day.
hey, that's dope.
Yeah, but speaking of the comfortability in front of the camera, I used to have a YouTube when I was in middle school, and I used to like sing and do covers, and I'd post them, and I had no issues of being in front of the camera. So I guess the reason I cut the head off, I think, was just like it was a trend at the time. Like on Instagram, people were like they would just crop their head and have people focus on the outfit, because at that point you don't associate the face with the outfits. You're just looking at how well did they put the outfit together, not who it is. I think that's the kind of reason why I did it. But in terms of the photography skills, I was in media club in high school, like all 4 years. I don't think I was a great photographer at all, but it was more so having a camera to capture the moments of me being with my friends and family. And that's the reason why I would do it. And even when like, I don't even consider myself a good photographer back then, but even when I would pick up brand deals and stuff, a lot of the times it's just me and my tripod. And I don't know how to gauge whether it was like good or not, but I'm just like really fortunate that whatever process I had at the time or whatever like was in my head and the way I presented it to people, like people actually liked it. So yeah, I guess the full comfortability and like being happy with my skills, I'm still learning to this day. Like I think my photography improves literally every time I shoot. But the comfortability thing is it happened just shortly out, like right when I got the PacSun and Forever 21 thing, probably 20, yeah, late 2017. That's when I was just like, okay, yeah, no more hiding your face. You have to show who you are now since you're working with brand. So yeah.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up question on the PacSun and the Forever 21. They were looking at your Instagram or your social media posts, and they like what they saw enough that they said, hey, we want this guy to be an ambassador. And then you've had some, subsequent experiences like that where people like, your styling. And this is kind of a tricky question because maybe you don't know the answer because I'm asking you what other people thought, but what do you think attracted those brands and other brands to, hey, I like what that guy's doing. I like this Noel, how he's putting stuff together. What do you think it was that sort of caught their eye? Because there's a lot of stuff right out there. They identified you as, I like what he's doing. What do you think it was? Any idea?
If I'm being completely honest,
be completely honest.
Yeah, when I got the Forever 21 and PacSun thing, in my head, I immediately thought, oh, like they're just trying to be inclusive. And, you've never seen a Filipino of darker complexion on these social platforms styling clothes, right? And I like to take pride in representing like my people, my nationality and everything. But I definitely think like they were trying to appeal to a wider audience of people, which I'm fortunate for. Like there's no bad rep or anything around that, but like I'm really fortunate that it was me. But aside from that, like all the stuff that I get now and anything like in the past or in between, I think it's genuinely because they like how I present myself. I think I style clothes pretty well, I'd like to say, or at least for my own sake.
I think so.
And thank you. And then, the photo wise, I think I was really, really adept at taking a product from a brand and presenting it in the best way possible that I could. And, just adding on all these more accolades of more and more brands and more work from people. I think I kind of just had this, this branding for myself, or like this aesthetic around myself where people just wanted me to create for them. So I guess to answer that question, I'm just really just being me, and I'm just really fortunate that people were able to catch on to that and trust me with their work.
Yeah, kind of going back to the jack of all trades things, because clearly you're taking photos, clearly you're in photos. You mentioned you do a lot of styling. You have your own brand, which we can get into in a second. So you're making clothes. How do you kind of find the balance between being able to do all these things, but then you're one person, and I'm sure you do a lot of these things because, being an individual trying to grow a brand, like me in this podcast, I do everything. As much as this guy sitting right next to me is here for the interview, after this interview, he's not doing shit. Like I'm going to have to edit. I'm going to have to do the graphics. I'm going to have to write all the bios, do all the social media. And like, it's exhausting, and trying to be able to delegate is one of the hardest things for me in the creative world. So how do you kind of find the balance of like, yeah, you can do so many things and to a high level on a lot of things. Like how do you delegate certain tasks? And then if you are doing a campaign, let's say like, for example, you just did a Foot Locker one, so I don't want to use Foot Locker, but let's say Adidas or a Nike comes to you and is like, we want you to do this campaign. Where do you are you like, oh, I'm going to be the model of this campaign, I'm going to be the creative director, I'm going to be the stylist? Where do you see like you being at your strongest or being able to showcase yourself the most? Or is it like, oh, I can do all these things, so let me do it all?
For the most part, I don't know.
Sorry about
I think
that
too.
No, I've heard it often that I'm just a pretty face behind the podcast.
You get people to listen, and then you do a lot. You do a lot.
I appeal to the over 70 aspect of our podcast.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you're here. I like to hear your side of things.
Thanks, Noel.
You do a lot in the actual show. No, like you bring a ton to Marathon Minute, but I'm just saying in like the actual production of it, like once we get out of the studio,
I'm not disagreeing.
You're not editing with me.
I am not disagreeing.
You're not sitting in there taking out all these things, doing graphics, but yeah.
I'm very grateful.
It's all love. It's all love. Sorry, back to you, Noel.
That's all good. And where were we at again?
I asked you a pretty long-winded question.
Organize everything basically.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm probably the worst person to ask because I'm super chaotic when it comes to like organization. I think I know when things should be created. I know when things are due, and then I know when I have free time to create on my own. I guess it kind of has changed along with myself as well, because in the past it was just, oh, like when I have time, I'll create for myself. Like when I have free time, I'll link up with a friend and I'll shoot just for fun, right? There's not really any pressure to do that. But now, being a stylist, being a creative director, doing all these like different things, it's tough. And I really like take it day by day. It's really like based on feeling or how I'm feeling today, or how I want, this, like speaking of like this year in itself, I was like, I have all these like tools that I created for myself, like in the past, but this year I want to take it with a more like serious approach and have, more organization to it. So I think whiteboards help, planning out things. I have a journal that I journal in every day, and then I have another book where I just write down just random ideas that pop into my head. So I think to find like that balance, it's really for me, like you said, like if I got like a Nike campaign today or something, on that basis, if a campaign was to be, or somebody was to approach me with a campaign, I have to be in it. I think that's the reason why they reached out to me. They want me to do, what I do best is modeling and bringing this together. But at the same time, if I'm in front of that camera, I think a lot of people don't realize though, like I'm basically the model, the stylist, and the creative director. Like every single video that I've done or any single photo that I've taken, yes, I work with my friends who like to take amazing photos, but I'm really the one directing them. Like, hey, take this shot from this side.
Yeah.
Let's get this shot from this side. We need these shots, and we're gonna go to this location at this point in time on this day. And I'm really just like a director. Like, okay, everybody come, let's do this. And it's tough. It really is tough to be in charge and to find time for everything. But right now, it's really, what gigs do I have to do? Like, who am I doing something for? Making sure I'm on top of those first, knock those out. And then that's when I'm like, oh yeah, I have free time. I'll look back in my notebooks like, oh, I had this concept in mind. I had this concept in mind. Let's bring it to life. Like let's link up with some friends. Let's do it. So it really is just like, it's not really a work thing for me. It's not really like, oh, this is my job. I don't have time to do the stuff I love to do. I'm already doing the stuff I love to do. So it's really chaotic, but it kind of works for me.
Yeah.
I had a question and it kind of goes back to your question, Max, about a jack of all trades. I mean, you model, you design clothes, you take photographs, you're a photographer. But have you had any technical training in or formal schooling or any kind of formal sort of education in any of those endeavors?
Nope, I didn't go to school for any of the stuff I do today at all. I kind of I think the accumulation of all these trades and things that I do now is just like, I never told myself that I couldn't do it. I think so. It's kind of took from people reaching out to me and asking me to do this for them. And I'm like, oh, you value me that much where you see me as that position. So now I'm like, I can call myself all these things. For instance, my friend, he's an artist from LA. He does a lot of music, reached out to me. And was like, hey, I really like how you style yourself. How would you like to style a music video for me? Or how would you like to put this concept together for me? So it's kind of like, I just was able to call myself all these things because people see me as like, they see the value in it. So now I'm able to come and approach people like, oh yeah, I've done this for this person. I've done this for this person. How would you like me to do this for you?
Yeah. You built a portfolio of work.
Yeah, exactly. I have a whole website where I show, and I think Instagram is like, it's one platform, but it's really like, it's a what do you call it? It's a monstrosity of all my different things. So I had to do the website. It's like, this is all my serious stuff. This is all the good stuff. You guys can like click the website and see like what I do now. But yeah, I've never had any formal training, really just self-taught. And I'm a big trial and error type of person. Like I'll go in head first. If I fuck up, figure out a solution because I'm never going to be like, oh damn, I can't do it. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I think there's so much value in, I mean, yes, I think formal education is great, but I think you probably learn a lot more just doing it on your own because like you said, like you fuck up that much more times and you learn so much when you fuck up. Like, I feel like I've always had these interests, but I never necessarily saw them as things I could potentially embrace in like a future career path. Like, I think when I was younger, I had creative interests, but also being so focused on athletics, I didn't see myself as being able to do both. And so I kind of just was like, oh, like, yeah, I like clothes. Yeah, I like making videos, but like, I got to be an athlete and athletes don't do those other things. Whereas now I've kind of embraced like the being more than an athlete and kind of leaning into those other interests. And like, I've learned so much just in the past couple of years of doing like Like if I have advice to anyone like wanting to do something, it's like, stop talking about wanting to do it and just try and do it. Like with this podcast or like with this fucking shirt that I'm wearing, it's like, I could have just sat there and be like, how do I get it on the internet? I don't know. How do I record? I don't know. It's like, well, try, like look up different ways, like order some t-shirts, hit up a screen printer, and you'll learn throughout the process how to do these things. I feel like so many people are intimidated. I think I was intimidated at a younger age of the unknown of not knowing how to do it. And I think also being a bit of a perfectionist, I'm like, I'm not going to do it and have it suck. But like, you kind of have to be okay with it not being perfect, because chances are it's not going to be perfect the first time, but you're going to learn those skills so that the more you keep doing it, the better it's going to be. Like, I mean, now we got new microphones. Our audio quality is leveling up. Hopefully this sounds good to people.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. But like,
no, that's a good point, because you are a perfectionist, and I think being a perfectionist has many. It's a maybe a good attribute. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it could be a real limiter in experimenting and trying and failing. Like you said, you learn probably more from your failures and your successes, but you have to be willing to fail and screw up and design a garment that no one likes, right? And you learn from it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I stand by. And I have so many creative friends that are just like scared or just anxious about where do I start? And I'm like, you're never going to know where you start unless you just start.
Exactly.
And, I'm a perfectionist as well. I kind of hate myself for it sometimes, because I'm like, damn, I can't post things or I can't present it to people unless it's literally the best version I possibly can. And I kind of get caught up chasing perfection sometimes, but I think it needs to be done, because the only way out is through. And there's times where I'm like, I'll take a photo or I have a photo shoot with somebody. I'm like, I didn't like how these came out. I'll reshoot the whole outfit.
Yeah.
Location, redo the whole thing until I get it the way that I want it to. But going back to like just starting things, for me, it was like, when I start something, I don't want to just start it and then just put it away. It's not like, it's just like a pastime. It's just something I tried. If I try it, I want to be the very best at it. So I think that's, how I got to where I am today. So this is where we are. And, like yourself, you said it was more than just being an athlete. You've done, we're on a podcast right now. So I think,
yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. You probably wouldn't even.
We are?
You just did it.
Holy, I just thought we were, oh man.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
I know. I heard. I listened to a prior interview of you, and I know you described yourself as, it may have been a perfectionist. You were talking about even the label on my garments has to be just right. And it may be the last step in the process, but that has to be perfect, or the garment's not perfect.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It can be tough, especially like when you're not the one necessarily doing a specific task. Like if someone else is like, for example, me, like I'm not a video editor, but like I'll have like footage I'll send to like a homie who edits videos. And it's like, oh, this looks great. It's like, can you maybe like move this one clip like a half second here? And it's like,
I'm like that too. Exactly like that.
I hate it, because like it's hard, because like you want to respect their work, but at the same time, I think there's something you can respect someone's work, and it's just part of collaboration at the end of the day. It's all about the way you do it. But I just like that, just you saying that just made me think of like so many times where I'm just like, I like try to ask in the least like naggy way possible. It's like, oh, like could you like maybe put that, or like maybe do this? And it's just like, I feel like I'm being so annoying sometimes, but it's like, that's the difference a lot of times between like, something that's good and something that's great. And I think that trait is something that, carries weight as you continue to go through higher and higher levels of what you're doing. Because I mean, I think like you see it with the best stuff that's made, like, oh, like they really went the extra mile to like do that little edit or do that little thing there. And you see it makes a difference.
I think at the end of the day, what matters the most is if you're happy with it too.
Yeah.
I think I'm just so fortunate that everybody that I've worked, I'm super picky. Like like I said, I want to do the whole thing. If I could, I would have no team and just me.
Yeah.
That's so like, I don't think you don't hurt anybody's feelings when you want to change something or you want it the way that you want it. And like with collaboration, you're right. You have to say things a certain way. You have to approach it a certain way to not disrespect anybody, but you still want to get what you want. But at the end, it's all worth it as long as you get something that you love. So
yeah, I want to talk a little bit about your brand, Absolute. At what point did you kind of have the feeling like, oh, I want my own brand? And when did you start it? How did it evolve, and kind of where is it now, where you want to take it?
I'm glad you asked, because I've been putting on the back burner probably like the whole last 2021. I think my last drop was in February, maybe. But I think in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to start a clothing brand. I think it'll always be cool. But I think for me, it was more like, I don't think I want to start one out of the blue, because it would be tough to market that or to scale it. And nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows what I stand for, right? So the biggest thing for me was like, anybody could put a name on a t-shirt and have it mean something, right? But it's like, it's the meaning that connects to people. And the only reason why I started a clothing brand, it's actually crazy. This kid from Stockton, he said he found me on TikTok, and I'm like, of all apps, I don't even be on TikTok like that, right?
Yeah.
But he found me on TikTok, reached out to Instagram, and he was like, hey, bro, I'm a graphic designer from Stockton. If you ever wanted to start a brand or anything, let me know and I can help you. And I was like, whoa.
Oh.
Yeah. So I took him seriously. I was like, I looked at his stuff and I was like, this is dope. So we hopped on a FaceTime call that same day. And I was like, for my first t-shirt, I just want to do something simple. My favorite color was orange. Let's do a white t-shirt and a black t-shirt. Let's do Absolute and make it orange. And let me backtrack a little bit. Going back to the name of the brand, Absolute. I came up with it probably 2 years before I even started the thing, before the graphic designer even reached out to me. But I was sitting in my room late night, and mind you, this is like after somewhat becoming like somebody on Instagram doing all these fashion things.
Yeah.
I was sitting in my room and I'm like, okay, if I were to ever start a brand, what would it be called and why? So I literally stayed up maybe the whole night, and then, at the late, like 3 a.m. hours, it kind of clicks and you're just like, oh, what this fashion stuff means to me is, it's kind of my form of expression. Anything creative is an output of what is actually in my head and, in my mind, body, and soul. And Absolute it means like being complete within yourself. It's like you have no doubts. You can go conquer the world. You can do anything as long as you are fully connected with who you are and you love yourself unconditionally at every moment in your life. So that's when I was like, oh, wow, like that's something that I live by. It's something that I stand for. And me, chasing these creative dreams proved to myself like how much I believe in myself. And it's kind of like this uplifting thing. So Absolute, and then made the t-shirts. And then ever since then, I look at these like higher end brands, and I look at all these like things that I like, and I kind of like mimic it in a way, or I try to take it and make it my own. So the brand came to life. I didn't know what to do. I was like, how do I sell stuff? How do I make this legal?
Yeah.
I have guidance. Anybody who I would ask to help, they kind of didn't want to. So I just did my research. I just trapped myself in my room for a couple of days, looked up how to start a business in my city, how to do this. And then here we are today. I have all the legal stuff. Everything's like legit, but I just haven't dropped in a while. I actually have a lot of stuff that I've been keeping under wraps, so I'm excited to show everybody. But yeah, absolutely. It's just an extension of myself. It's something that I stand for wholeheartedly. It's a message that I love to spread, and so many people connect with it. One of our biggest mantras is never stop loving you. Self-love is the best love. So yeah, that's Absolute.
Do you design everything? And what is the array of garments that you've that it's under the Absolute brand umbrella?
Yeah, so after working with that graphic designer, I realized that like you said, trying to ask somebody to perfect something and do stuff, I just felt really naggy at some point. And that kid had his own brand of his own, and it's actually doing numbers right now. So I'm so happy for him. But I was like, damn, I don't want to keep asking people to design stuff for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just download Photoshop and just mess around for a night and see what happens. So I downloaded Photoshop, watched a couple tutorials, and I was just, just playing around. And now it's like my process is, what do I want to make? And then how do I execute it? Like if I can't think of, I have the idea in my head, then I'll search up, how do I do this on Photoshop? and then
Yeah.
you get your designs, and then you reach out to your suppliers and everything. But speaking of garments and what is under the umbrella, we have t-shirts. I've done beanies. I've done varsity jackets. Those were a hit last year.
Yeah, those are clean.
Yeah, I think
They're dope.
jacket way,
Yeah.
but nobody's really doing them yet. Now it's like everybody's doing varsity jackets.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I actually have 2 varsity jackets I'm going to drop hopefully at the end of this month or mid next month.
Let's go.
But we don't have too many things. It's basic, like we did sweatsuits before. So anything that you could probably print on and not have to like cut and sew together.
Yeah.
And when you drop a new line, it's fairly limited, right? It's not a broad line of clothing. And I'm just, because I'm ignorant, how many do you make? How many garments do you make? How many varsity jackets can you make? Because I assume they're pretty labor intensive and expensive. And
for me,
how do you size it? All that kind of stuff.
Facts, yeah. There's a lot that goes into it that
Sure is.
realized. Yeah. For me, fortunately, I started the clothing brand when I already had such a big following for the fashion side of things. So those people kind of just went over to the brand. And when I go about creating things, if I can, I won't make a bunch of things because then I'll just be left with a bunch of things if nobody buys it. So
Yeah.
I go on like pre-orders. I'll make like
Smart.
a couple of the same things, or I'll do like one run of every size, just so when I have models and stuff, I will like be able to have their sizes. So I'll get the stuff. I'll do the product photos myself in my garage. And that's another thing I picked up out of the blue, because I was like, damn, I don't want to keep having to book a studio to shoot my stuff. So I was like, I'll just buy a little ratchet setup off Amazon and figure it out. So I figured it out, and everything's just done literally in my house. But yeah, I don't buy too many things, so I don't get stuck with things. I kind of just leave it up to pre-orders, just make a couple for myself, and then whoever wants to buy them will get them. But that just makes sure I don't get left with any waste.
Yeah. No, that's smart. I'm learning some of these things the hard way. Like we just made shirts for the podcast, which after this I'll have to get you one. But like they fit super oversized. And so me being like a bigger guy, I usually wear like XL t-shirts or larges, usually XLs. So I ordered like a ton of XLs, a ton of larges, like barely any mediums, barely any smalls. Well, the XL fits like a 2XL, the L fits like an XL, and the medium fits like damn near close to an XL. So like I now have like a bunch of XLs just sitting at the crib, because it's like, oh, you got to know your sizes, and every company, whatever it is, like their blanks are going to run different. So it's like, it's definitely a learning process. I'm going to need to figure out what to do with those XLs, because I think that might be a little big on you. It's big on me. It's big on him. And then it's funny what you said about turning your garage into a studio. Yeah. Literally, when I took product shots for these, and I took product shots for our podcast shirts in our backyard. I just got rolling paper and just waited for a nice sunny day, and like just laid down on the ground and like used angles
with what you have.
Yeah, you got to work with what you have. And like, I mean, credit, like I've seen your product shots, and it's studio quality, and ours came out pretty nice too. Like, so and there's something about just learning how to do that, like with what you have, that I feel like goes a long way. And kind of like going back to like, if you waited for the perfect situation, you'd either be broke because it'd be way too much money to do what you want to do for what you're trying to do, or like you just never would do it because there's never going to be the perfect time. There might be a great time to do something, but it's never going to be perfect. So just doing it, that's like the most important part. So that's dope.
I have another question.
You have another one?
Yeah,
I have a couple too, but you can go ahead.
Well, I just, how would you describe, the Absolute brand? How would you describe your kind of style influences? How would you call it would you call it streetwear?
It is, in a sense, yeah. I don't think, well, great question, first and foremost.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree. That's a good one.
You were about to ask that, right?
No, I was gonna, no, but
okay.
Good thing you did. That's a good one.
I think for my brand, it completely embodies who I am or how I'm feeling. In a sense, it's like, what am I lacking in my closet? And then what can I make for myself? And
Yeah.
luckily what I make for myself, people tend to like it. So, I'm able to profit off of this business. But I guess you could say it's more on the classier side of things. I like the simplicity in things. I don't like things that are like super graphic and or just, I like things where you can wear it in plenty of different situations. Like whether it's a simple beanie with just I think the name of the brand just speaks to people in itself. So I don't really need to do too much. But yeah, it's really just clean cut, classy things in a way. Very versatile pieces. I guess it could fall under the category of streetwear. It's literally just up to how people want to style it. Me personally, for instance, like the varsity jackets, I wanted it to be like that 60s kind of like 70s like old school college feel, like football players, they just have their varsity jackets on. So it's evident in the lookbook. I literally like broke into a school in San Francisco and shot a lookbook there. It kind of like having a brand has just helped me be able to portray a story in a way, or like where I got my influences from. But yeah, it's very simple garments, nothing too crazy really.
Yeah.
Do you gravitate towards certain colorways or stay away from certain ones?
I think it's in a moment type of thing. Like when I'm designing, when I just made these new t-shirts, I just go through like, what am I feeling? Like, ooh, I don't have any blue t-shirts in my closet, or ooh, I don't have this yet. I think this would go dope with a pair of shoes that I have. And I'll just make it. It's really, at the end of the day, for me, it's kind of just fun, or like, what do I want to wear myself? And like I continue to say, I'm just very fortunate that people tend to like them too. So
yeah, I think, honestly, one of the coolest and most fun parts about making anything, but clothes specifically, is that you get to wear it. Like,
yeah,
like
I love wearing my stuff.
Yeah, being able to just wear something that you made like that, something about it just hits different,
Or even seeing other people wear the stuff you made. Like there's times where I'll walk, or like I'll go out in the bay and stuff, and I'm like, hey, like he's rocking my jacket, bro. Or
yeah,
I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, honestly, that's cooler than wearing it yourself, because to see someone else rock with it. We talked a little bit about how you've leveraged, or you've grown a lot on social media, and you've used Instagram. You found your graphic designer on TikTok, or he found you on TikTok. But I also see like sometimes you post about, kind of the frustrations of it, of like
I was going
the algorithm fucks with you, fucks with all of us. And it's tough to have a business somewhat rely on, an algorithm. And me personally, like I get very frustrated, because it's like sometimes you'll put hours, thoughts into shooting a campaign or making some very cool content, and then you hope to put it out there and like, oh, this is going to blow up. So many people are going to see this. So many people are going to see all this hard work that I put into this, all this production. And then it's like, it gets no love. And not because it's not dope, because it's like, they just, for some reason, decided not to push this out there or put it in front of the eyes. And that can be frustrating, because a lot of it's like out of your control in a way.
Right.
I think I credit you for, you get on people to save your photos, because honestly, that pushes. I wish I didn't have to either, but I probably should, because hey, if you're listening to this and follow me on Instagram, you need to be saving my photos, because that's how it gets eyes. And so I respect as you put that out there, like, yo, save my shit, because it really does make a difference. But could you just talk a little bit about kind of the balance of like making stuff and using social media as like a business tool and a way to get exposure, but also like not, I've also seen you say like, post something that's dope because you think it's dope, not because you want it to blow up, And that's, I agree with that. Like a lot of times the shit that I don't think is that cool will get a lot of recognition. And like the thing that I think is the coolest gets 0 views. And it's like, at the end of the day, that'll drive you crazy. So, I respect what you said about just doing stuff because you want to do it, but kind of what's your perspective on that?
It definitely sucks. I think I suffer like a lot from it too, because I was just on a rise, just continually going up, right?
Yeah.
And then now we're kind of at a time where like Instagram just fucks everybody over, and I've actually lost followers. Like I'm down to 12.8. I used to be at 13.5. It's weird. It's a mental thing, and as much as I try to tell myself like it doesn't matter, as it still like matters in a way, because it's like a connection to like making a living off of this sometimes, you know?
Yeah. It's a business tool.
No, literally. So when it's, I think as long as you're like at peace with yourself, and my friend told me this quite a while ago, and it really hit me. I think I tweeted or something. I was like, damn, I worked so hard on this project and I put so many hours into it and so much money into it, my own money, and it just flopped.
Yeah.
Right. And it sucks. It's a sucky feeling, because you're so hyped. Like you said, you're like, wow, like this is amazing. I did all these things and I'm so ready to show it to people. And then you're like, wow, nobody really like showed me any love for it. Right. But he said, it's never a flop if it's something that was in your head and you were able to bring it into your reality and exist there as a, you know, whether it's a digital thing or it's an actual like physical art piece. And I took that to heart. It's a magnificent thing for anybody, like creative or not, to have an idea of some sort in your head and literally figure out what tools do I need, who do I need, where do I need to go, and have that accumulation of everything. And then you have this end result where it's like, wow, I just went through that whole process and I brought this to life. So that in itself is a win. It's always going to be a win when you are literally creating from nothing, right? So that's kind of something I continue to tell myself, and just to have balance with not being so hard on myself. Like it's kind of out of my hands in a way, when this is just how social media is. So I'm gonna just continue to do it because I love it.
Yeah, no, I think you have a good perspective on that. And it's like at the same time, like whether or not people see it in the moment, like you still created that and that will last forever on this platform unless you decide to take it down. And it's like, I'm kind of someone who uses it a bit, yes, as a business tool, but also as like somewhat of a portfolio of like, you might not see this when I post it, but if someone's coming at my page to see if I'm capable of doing certain work,
right.
like it's there. So it's like, it might not get the eyes that you need in that moment or whatever, but like, as long as some of the right eyes maybe see it at the right time, then it was worth it, you know?
And that's what I'm trying to realize as well too, is like, there's a lot of things that matter outside of the social media space.
Yeah.
Like Instagram pages are kind of just a standstill. Like this is just a quick glance of like, who am I, what do I do? And you're right. Like anybody can see it really. And that's like, I'm fortunate to like have continually to pick up the big gigs from big brands, is because a lot of them are starting to value quality over quantity. Like literally everybody's creating in a way, whether it's like just on iPhone or it's, you know, just on higher quality productions. But the quality of things matter a ton, especially like when it comes to the bigger brands. And I'm fortunate because I think I'm relatively a small page, but my friends who have 40K, 350K or whatever, they get all the same gigs as me. It's just that their payout is a lot bigger, right?
Yeah.
And another thing that I value, kind of the brighter side of things, of, you know, having to deal with this shitty algorithm and not getting your stuff like have love shown to it, is the people that actually show love and continually show love and are always on the for your page. Like people who don't just like look down their feed, but actually go to your profile and look at what you're doing, who you are. And like, you know, those connections matter to me the most. Like this connection between us three, I think it matters a lot, because I would have never been on this podcast if you didn't value my work on my social medias, right?
Facts.
So that's a big plus for me, is just who you meet, the quality of work. That's really what matters when it comes to like posting your stuff on social media.
Yeah. No,
well said.
Yeah,
Absolutely well said.
I agree.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned like just like the amount of content being made and just how easy it is. Like whether you have, I mean, the new iPhone, like there's sometimes when like I'll take a photo on like my nice camera with a lens and it looks cool. And then I'll like pull out my iPhone. I'm like, this damn near looks better on my iPhone. So it's like right now I feel like it's easy and hard at the same time to make good content. Like, you know, the difference between like an iPhone photo and like a real ass photo taken like with the right equipment and editing and lighting and all that. But like, I feel like it's such an interesting time for creators and just the industry, because content is at an all-time high in terms of need. Like I feel like the entire world revolves around just ad money and marketing. And like every brand is like, we need content. We need people to see what we're doing. And the only way for people to see what we're doing is if we create and show what we're able to do. So I feel like there's like, it's this weird dynamic of like, it's never been easier to make content. Everyone has an iPhone. Everyone can do basic things, and content is at an all-time high need in terms of like companies that need it. And so it's like, kind of, what do you think of like just the current landscape? Like, I feel like it's kind of, it's overwhelming, honestly, for me, like at times, like now with all the, now it's like TikTok is the new biggest channel. So it's like, well, fuck, now I gotta like make a TikTok. But then, and so it's like, you feel like you kind of have to like keep up with certain trends to like stay relevant. But at the same time, it's like, you gotta protect your mental, you gotta do what you need to do. So it's like, how are you navigating this? Like, I feel like it's kind of the wild west for creators and content right now. I don't know how it will change, but like, I feel like the past few years have been like a little bit of a shift from, maybe I just wasn't in the space then, but like, it just seems wild. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's crazy. What's great about it though, before I get to like the bad, is literally I watched this dude on YouTube. It's called Fisherman's Life or something like that. And it's great because people are able to create stuff and live off of doing what they love to do. Like, this man just goes out on his boat, fishes, records the content, posts it, and he gets, YouTube money, and people are able to live like that. So I think it's a great thing overall, where like content is in such need and we're also able to make so much money off of creating. But the bad, yeah, you're right, keeping up with the trends is hard. And it's always a new thing too. Like when TikTok first like blew up, I'm like, damn, like I gotta be corny and I gotta do all these things for people to like me, you know? But I think I find a lot of, content in staying true to my values and like who I am. Like, you would never see me doing the little dances and, putting on clothes and stuff. Like, that's just not me. Like, when I do a reel, I'm gonna want to have quality and story behind it and meaning. I'm not just gonna make something quick because, that's what the kids are gonna eat up. It's definitely hard. But like I said, those connections and the people that are seeing you outside of this like social media world matter so much. And that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm trying to, like, my Instagram's just been flopping, right? It's just the cold hard truth. But I've been finding like outlets outside of like the social media space and actually creating for like other people who are already like well established,
Yeah.
So in terms of like how I navigate, that's just, I'm gonna just keep posting like what I want to post, and if the campaigns come, they come. But I'm like getting set to have a position doing the things I did for social media for actual brands and actual companies, So yeah, I'm gonna just leave it up to, being happy with myself and what I do, and not spreading myself so thin, and not doing anything that doesn't make me feel like uncomfortable, because that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I mean, I'm kind of similar, where it's like, that's where I kind of draw the line. It's like, I refuse to like change my values or do something outside of myself for the purpose of like more followers or a brand. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like what you said about like just creating that time and space for getting off of that, and just like be like, because you can get sucked into that world, and it's dangerous. And so many kids nowadays like have so much mental trauma from being just sucked into these platforms.
It's scary how well versed technology is getting, and how like connected it's becoming to our biology in a way.
Yeah.
I recently just watched like this interview of Elon Musk and Post Malone, and he was like, "You're already a cyborg." And he was like, "Why are you going to say that?" He was like, "Just think about it. Your phone is on you literally all the time. It's an extension of who you are." And then we talk about like the metaverse and NFTs and all these like digital spaces, and it's scary because it's happening so quick. But we're slowly going to realize that our like the digital things and stuff are gonna amount to way more like money and stuff like that than actually existing in your real life, And that in itself is just such a scary thought for me.
Yeah, you gotta find time to prioritize the real world, because that's, I mean, shit, that's that's where we're all living. I mean, I don't plan on moving to the metaverse personally, but, but yeah. So yeah, I think you said that perfectly.
Before we go to the last segment, ever going to get into the flannel line?
Oh,
Uh,
like absolute finals.
Absolutely.
yeah, we can maybe collaborate because you could see I have some style, influences.
Yeah, it's a great final. It's a great starting point.
Yeah. No, I
Possibly,
when
yeah, why not?
Yeah, here we go.
we've had a couple of stylists and models on the podcast, and I felt some pressure to, break out my my cool stuff, and then I realized I don't have any cool stuff. So
We'll go marathon minute T.
that is the coolest thing I have.
Yeah,
Yep. But
that works.
Personally, I do like the flannel.
thanks. It's comfy.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Okay.
Kind of, you talked a little bit about like how you've been working working a little bit with other people and other brands and not necessarily like just on your stuff. And I think that's there's a lot of value in that, because I think sometimes when you're so focused on like yourself, it's tough. Like, cause I mean, I can get caught up in it too. And like, you're trying to grow your stuff so much that like, that can be very stressful and just kind of an unhealthy cycle. Whereas like, if you're giving to someone else and like actively like helping others, like I feel like there's something about that is fulfilling in a different way, and not necessarily the same type of mental stress as doing stuff that's all like everything I'm doing is for my brand's personal growth and all that. So kind of relating to that, would you like to, potentially work for a brand down the line and do something in creative direction, something like be a creative at a certain brand? Or do you like the kind of being your own boss and doing your own freelance stuff and a lot of the work that you're doing right now versus, getting a job within the same space that you're in, but kind of having the power? Because I do think there's value to having the power of a greater platform or brand behind you. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Actually, I definitely like being able to create for myself. I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah.
I love bringing projects to life, and I think like when I have friends who like help me out and stuff, like it means a lot to me, right? So when I go and I help, other artists or whatever bring something that they love to life, I love being able to give them the same feeling that I would probably have if somebody helped me. But on the terms of working for somebody, I think that's definitely something I'd be open to. Actually, I haven't even made any announcements or anything, but there's this store in Oakland called Inner Desires, and
I know them.
I just talked to the owner, or we've been in contact for the past couple of weeks, and I'm gonna be assistant creative director, I think, of like a lot of social media and a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons why I said I'm trying to like maneuver through this in a way where I don't have to rely on my social media too much.
Yeah.
Because real people and real outside brands outside of the social media space see the value in all the stuff that I do, and want me and value my creative mind to work for them and to mold their whatever they have going on in my vision, right, in my my manners and everything. So yeah, I definitely see myself branching out or holding a position that, who knows, maybe I'll be creative director for a big high fashion house in the future.
Yay.
But yeah, I'm open to it. I know for a fact that if I do have those jobs, like the stuff that I do on my own, that'll never end.
Yeah. I feel like there's something to that. That's like, I mean, you were doing that when you were a kid, you're doing that in high school, college, like that's something. Yeah, exactly. That's self-expression. So, and if you find something where you're able to do both, like that's, could be a dream come true. Right. And I feel like I'm kind of similar in that respect. Okay. Should we move to our ending segment?
I think he's ready. Yeah. He looks ready.
Okay. Yep. Definitely. We need to link up in person at some point, work together, but we'll do our ending segment right now. It's called, what are you eating, reading, preaching, and plugging? So it's like, not like rapid fire. Yeah. So the first one is, what are you eating? That's like, is there a Bay Area restaurant you want to shout out, or is there something you're chefing up in the kitchen? What is a food item you'd like to highlight as of late?
Funny you asked. I used to heavily be into fitness, and I used to like bodybuild and stuff. and I'm trying to get back into it, like on a smaller scale, really not being too serious about my diet.
Let's go.
But I have been eating really clean lately. I've been trying to cook more meals at home. But when I do eat out, and it's like a guilty pleasure of mine, it's probably like my favorite sandwich in the world. There's this place in Daly City called the New Daly City Market, and they have the best sandwiches ever on Dutch crust.
Really?
Of course, yes, you have to try, bro. I promise you, it will not disappoint.
What kind of, is it like a deli sandwich? Like
Yeah,
a,
it's like a liquor store / like deli type of thing. Like a
all right,
little-
what's your sandwich? Is it like
My go-to sandwich
turkey?
anywhere is just roast beef on Dutch Crunch. I don't do cheese. I haven't consumed
don't-
any dairy the past like
No
3
cheese.
We are two no cheese guys,
Right.
so
Oh yeah,
Cheese
hell
free,
yeah.
cheese free
you're
zone
talking to
here.
the right guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't do cheese. So just Dutch Crunch, and roast beef with everything on it. You know, you got the lettuce, tomatoes, the garlic,
Yep.
aioli, the pepperoncinis, the pickles, and the onions.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Are you living in Daly City these days, or is that just a go-to sandwich
Actually,
place?
a lot of my family lives out there. I used to go to like elementary school out there, so I go
Okay.
back and forth between like San Francisco and Richmond a lot.
Okay.
Dope. What was it called again? We might need to check it
I
out.
can look it too, but it's called the New Daly City Market.
New Daly City Market.
Got
Okay.
it.
So that's what you're eating. Next, what are you reading? Is there a book that you've read recently, an article,
Hold on, let me
something?
grab it right now.
All right, let's go.
I actually don't read a lot. I don't like I just don't read too much, right? But this year I told myself maybe you're just not reading the right things. Like people read fiction, people read nonfiction, but I wanted to read things that I actually value and I can find like a lot of things that I connect with. So
Yeah.
I took myself to the Amazon bookstore and I picked up 2 books from Austin Kleon. One of them that I'm on right now. I didn't get to the other one yet. It's called Keep Going.
Dope.
10 ways to stay creative in the good times and the bad.
Dope.
And it's actually been very insightful. I've been connecting with it so much, and it kind of gives you like a rundown of how other people like creatively operate, and it just helps me a lot with like my thought processes. And if I ever feel like I'm in a rut, I should read the book, and I'm like, okay, that's what I need to do. And then the second one is by the same artist, but it's called Steal Like an Artist. 10 things nobody told you about being creative.
Damn, I like those.
Yeah.
I might need to check out one of those.
Great.
They look very digestible too. Which
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
is
not
important.
not a hard read or anything. It's not too crazy. It's great.
Any light bulbs go on? You're reading the book and the light bulb, you have that aha moment. Like that is a great idea, or I need to do that, or I do that. That's cool.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
For instance, in the book, there's one that's there's a chapter called Every Day is Groundhog Day, which basically means you have to take every day like it's a new day, or like for what the day is, and just do everything that you can within that day. And then another chapter was the art of having like a routine, with like however chaotic your life can be, especially like when it comes to being a creative and having these different jobs that I have to do. At the end of the day, you have to have a time where you can just sit and just meditate and reflect on your thoughts and really just, see yourself and like what you do from a bird's eye view almost. And, just gather your thoughts. And that's one of the things that they said in that part of the book, is just to have that time for yourself.
Go Gomez. Remember the sports psychologist? She said the same thing. Have a routine.
I'm big on routine.
Yeah.
That's why I have coffee and oatmeal every morning.
Yep.
You already know. Okay. Eating, reading. What are you preaching? So this is like words of wisdom, some sort of motto. Like, do you have a saying that you go by? If you had to leave people with like a motto or something.
I think I was saying them a lot too. I mean, it's kind of what Absolute stands for.
Yeah.
And I tell myself every day when I wake up is you have to love yourself at every single point in your life, in the good and the bad,
Yeah. No, I think
Yep.
that's extremely important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then last one is, what are you plugging? Definitely Absolute, but
Yeah.
what else are you plugging? Maybe this social media, maybe some future campaigns you got going. You just mentioned Inner Desires.
You've got a website.
Like my portfolio, right? I was gonna plug somebody else. I was like,
hey, that works too.
One of the dopest artists I know, is I could pick from so many. Whose name am I gonna say? Oh,
That's tough.
my boy Laren Wong. He's a great R&B artist. He gives you that old school feel, like the Donell Jones type of feel. He's a great artist. He just dropped, I believe, an EP with plenty of songs. You guys should definitely go check him out.
What was the name again?
Laren Wong.
Laren Wong.
And where do we find his music, or how do our listeners find his music? I guess
Probably
Apple.
Yeah. Apple,
Pretty sure,
Spotify.
Apple, Spotify. Go to Instagram.
Everywhere.
Yeah, you just search for Laren Wong. He'll pop up for sure.
Dope.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was Eating, Reading, Preaching plug-in. Bro, this was dope. As much as it would have been dope to do it in person, I'm glad we still got to do it. We still need to link up in person at some point.
Pretty sure we'll
I
have
feel,
you, bro.
yeah, we'll
How tall are
would
you?
love. How tall am I? I'm 6'1" on a good day.
Okay, for sure.
You know,
You're 6'1"?
yeah. How
Zach?
tall are you? You're shrinking, so
I'm
that's
6'2".
why. Okay, well, we're the same height because you're shrinking and I'm growing.
Okay.
He's a hater. He's a hater.
The reason I asked, I was like, maybe we'll have you model for Absolute. I have I'm planning a lookbook soon. Been looking for some people, so I'll keep you in mind for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm pretty busy these days,
Oh my
but I can carve out a little time maybe.
Do not listen to this guy. But yeah, seriously, it would be dope to link, whether it be working on something, collaborating, or just like chopping it up. Yeah, I feel like when I talk to you, when I speak about some of these things, like I just see so much of like what goes through my head. So it's like, it's cool to hear that from someone else and to like get that perspective. And I love what you're doing, bro. Like I admire the work you do behind the camera, in front of the camera, from a styling perspective, from just a creative direction standpoint. I fuck with it all. So
Thank you.
this was cool to kind of get some insight into the way you think. And yeah, it'll be that much doper when we link in person. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to thank you for your time. You've been really generous with us in terms of your time. And as I say on these podcasts, particularly with the younger folks who we interview or have on as guests, I learn a lot. It's really cool to learn from young folks. Old dogs can learn a lot of new tricks from.
Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it a lot.
You're too flattered.
Thank you.
All right, bro.
Hey, Noel, good luck with everything you're working on. I
Yeah.
wish you the best, really. I'll be following you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, expect a follow from him on social media soon. And yeah, we'll chop it up. We'll link up soon.
Yeah.
So I'll be around.
Pretty sure it'll happen. Yeah.
All right, bro. Have a good rest of your night. And this was dope.
Oh yeah. You too as well. Thank you so much.